Today, we're going to introduce the latest in our flagship line, the SOLJET Pro 4 XR-640. We'll review the features of the product and run you through. We're very excited about the SOLJET Pro 4. It's an amazing printer, has some great features. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So what are the features? Okay, so we'll start with the highlights. It has 2 inline print heads that you can configure in 4 different ways, and it runs on a new ink set, Eosol Max 2, which includes a new light black ink, but also a higher opacity white, as well as a new vibrant metallic. Okay. And this is a SOLJET machine, so it is known for high image quality at production speed. Let's take a walk around the printer. We'll look at a general overview. List price on the XR-640 is $29.95. It also has an optional dryer unit that you can add for $35.49. It has a integrated tri-heater system. Okay, so it's going to heat on the way in. It's going to heat while it's printing, and it's also going to dry. So it runs through in a 3-step phase. Okay. 2 inline print heads, as we mentioned before, and I'll go into detail on that a little bit later. And the new Eosol Max 2 ink that comes in CMYK, light cyan, light magenta, light black, and also metallic and white. The Pro 4 also has a TU2 function, which with the included take-up reel allows you to run unattended print and cut. It's a really robust feature that allows for the take-up reel to slack after a certain amount is printed, come back, contour cut, and then pick up tension again. So basically what that does for you is allows you to run unattended. You can set an entire roll of adhesive back vinyl up to print and cut, loaded through the VersaWorks RIP, and with the TU2 function you can print and cut an entire roll of decals and walk away. So it's pretty exciting. Great for overnight unattended running. It is a 64-inch wide printer, and again we mentioned the optional dryer unit, which is great for when you're working with your whites, because we do have faster printing speeds on whites as well as on metallic. But also if you're running at banner speed, at production speed, and running to take up, that extra dry time, the extra temperature on the dryer is going to allow you to run at that production speed and go to take up without any issues of it sticking on itself. And it also has an 88-pound capacity, so you can run larger rolls on the XR. Applications. So what can you make with the Pro 4? Realistically, what can't you make with it? All the greatest hits that we've made with our SOLJET line in the past are included here, plus more. Banners, signs, vehicles, wall wraps, of course print and cut, but posters, exhibit graphics, backlits, and you can go on down the list from there. It's really the type of a printer that people will buy and build an entire business around it, because there's so many different applications that you can get involved in. Excuse me. So it has a new print engine, 2 inline print heads that not only increase speed, but they hold image quality. Okay, so it chooses from 7 different droplet sizes, which allows you to create excellent gradient transitions and also consistent solid colors. Now with the new ink configuration, there's 4 different options for the XR-640. What's great about these 4 options is they all run in a mirrored configuration through 7 colors. So through the 3 same colors. And what a mirrored configuration means is that if you've ever seen a print that's running at fast speed when someone's printing in bidirectional mode, which means it's printing going out and it's printing coming back. Sometimes you'll see what they call a lawnmower effect or banding, chromatic banding, because the ink is spraying out in one direction and then it's reversed in the opposite direction coming back as it overlaps, causing that banding effect. So the only way to reduce that is either to run a unidirectional or slow the print head down, so you sacrifice speed for quality. When you're running in a mirrored configuration, it will lay out the same way going out as it does coming back, so it allows you to run at speed but still maintain that top quality. And it will run through, no matter how you set it up, the 7 main colors. So CMYK, light magenta, light cyan, and light black, and then you can see how it works over here into reverse. Okay, so if you just want to set it up 7 color, that's how it would be. If you wanted to add metallic, it would still run those same colors through, and then metallic would be on the side. Same thing with white, mirrored through the 7 colors, and then white running independently. Now if you want to have white and metallic both, you would then drop the light black and the white would be mirrored. Okay, so no matter which way you set it up, you're going to have that benefit of being able to run at a production speed and not sacrifice quality. So that's some exciting news there. New ink. We'll talk a little bit more about the new ink here. The CMYK light cyan and light magenta are available in 440 milliliter. With the new Eosol Max 2 ink, as of right now, it is exclusive for the XR-640. So the old Eosol Max ink, excuse me, old Eosol Max ink does not work for the XR-640, and the Eosol Max 2 ink does not work on previous models. So as of right now, it's exclusive. If you get an XR-640, you'll get Eosol Max 2 ink, including the cleaning cartridges. Great news, same price. So the list price are shown here, and of course when you work with a Roland certified dealer, you'll get obviously better pricing from there. So we just show on list here. And it also includes a new cleaning cartridge as well. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about light black. Okay, what is light black and what does that mean? What light black does is allows for, when we're looking at black reproduction, a lot of times through the gradients, and we've all seen it before, where you'll get kind of that magenta mix in there because they're trying to duplicate a richer or darker black, or something on the lighter side, or sometimes you'll see it be a little bit green. What the light black allows to do is that when you get into those light areas, you'll have the black in those dark areas, but as you start to get into those grays and into those lighter percentages of K data or black data, you're going to see it's going to be a true representation of that black. It's amazing. The first print that I ever got the opportunity to make on this printer was of a black and white image, and it was incredible at standard mode, at this 540 by 720 standard mode. So it's terrific. It's really exciting. And towards the end of the webinar, I'll tell you where you can come out and see the printer for yourself. The slides here are great, but you really need to see this printer in action and take a look at the products that it can produce. So light black ink, not only on black and white images, but for color images as well, especially when you're looking at skin tones. Okay, so you can see on the left here where you kind of looks like a bit of orange or that tanning booth type tan, where if you work anywhere near cosmetic companies, they're always looking for that neutral, natural skin tone. Okay, I don't want it to be orange. This might actually look a little bit more vibrant on your computer screen, but when you get it out and printed, especially if you're looking at some type of a backlit type point of purchase display, you really want to have that skin to be neutral, and that light that light black really, when it mixes in with that CMYK, can help provide that neutral zone. Okay. And then we'll talk about the new white ink. Okay. New white ink and along with metallic, they both have are going to be featured with a faster print speed. Which is great if you have any experience with white or metallic. It's just on a printing process to lay down the right amount of ink. We slowed down and worked at higher resolutions, where now we have more of a production speed. But the other exciting news about the new white is the increased opacity. Okay. If you can take a look at this file here, and hopefully you can see it on your screen, on the old ink you can see it's an opacity test. There's a printed white swatch and a light behind it. And now if you look at the new Eosol Max 2 ink, you can just barely make out a little bit of light coming through there. So that increased opacity is going to help open up new applications for clear. It's also going to allow you to run at a faster speed, because many times when you would only get this opacity, you'd have to return to origin and print twice in order to then be able to print over it. So that's exciting there. And new metallic silver. Also, metallic silver comes with an increased print speed, which is going to allow for increased productivity as well. But also, it has a new pigment. So our metallic catalog and our metallic colors are great now. They're getting even better. So if you're looking at packaging, looking at labels, but all the way up to vehicle wraps, as you can see here on the Kia that has been wrapped with a metallic graphic. It's really spectacular to be able to add those pearlescents when you mix in with CMYK, and our Roland metallic color chart has 512 metallic colors to choose from, of different shades of CMYK colors. It's also improved the print quality. A combination of having the dual inline heads and then the increased opacity of the inks has really allowed for more vibrant printing. So when you're thinking of more vibrant printing, think of applications such as backlit. We've all seen backlits where they look washed out until they're lit up. If you turn the light off on them during the day, they look muted and not vibrant. So rather than having to go back again, and many times the solution for that would be to double print or increase passes. Here, you can do it in one shot, so you're not losing production. You're gaining that quality, and you're not losing that production speed again. Okay. I am going to take a quick second while we're here, and I have one question here. Roberto asks, do speeds change depending on the configuration? Roberto, where the speeds are going to change is obviously when you're using a specialty ink. If you're using a white or a metallic, the speeds will be slower because of the nature of the amount of ink that needs to come down. Again, we have increased those speeds, and I'll kind of go into that as we get a few slides down here. But that's where you see a speed difference. Okay. And I'll do one more question before I move forward. Chris asks, how does this compare in quality to an SC540? For an example, it's a 6-head printer. Chris, with this printhead technology, having these two printheads is comparable to having actually, you look at it as comparable to having 8 heads on the previous SC technology on that printhead. Okay, so as far as the quality goes, it's incredible. The incredible increase in quality. So it's much more advanced. It's much more vibrant. It allows to put down more ink in different variable droplet size. Okay, and again, on going back to quality, to note on Chris' question there, high definition printing. Okay, so combined with the new ink and the print engine, what it allows for is up-close printing, where you can see in standard mode, if you look from the left here, and you can kind of see the separation on the white, kind of little white dots, and sometimes it looks a bit orange peel as you look up close. With this configuration and the new new vibrant ink, it allows for that smooth up close look. So when you're looking at labels and you're looking at things that need to be viewed up close, it's a fantastic printer. And it's improved on gamut. Okay, so if you look at its predecessor, and we used an XJ printer, which from a Pro 3 line, it provides a wider gamut, especially when you're looking in those reds, which everyone loves, nice, good strong reds, even into those cool reds, and through in your oranges, into your greens, and then it's a comparable in through the blues. So that's exciting there too. Speed-wise, it is about 20% faster than its predecessor. The billboard speed comes in right at about it comes in exactly at 528.1. Where I've printed at that mode, and I can tell you quality on it, saturation looks great. Visibility at billboard mode, think of outdoor advertising. If you're going to be wrapping a building, if you're going to be putting something up about 15 feet up, it views great. As far as up close, you're going to run over into those production modes. Okay, so when you're looking at those production modes, about that 183 mark, 160, 170 for vinyl, which is great. Okay, metallic speeds and white speeds, they're still being finalized. The metallic and the white ink will become available in November. Okay, so the speeds are still being finalized, but where we're at ballpark is at that new 720 by 720 print mode. Is on metallic, you can say ballpark around that in that 32, 35 square feet, and white you can look at, so we'll say 43 to 45, 46, around there. Okay. Now there's some VersaWorks advancements as well. Okay, so 4.7 is available now as the printer comes off, as the printer starts to be distributed and is being sold now, and then 4.8 will be coming in November. Okay, so we'll look at a couple of the features that are included in those Roland VersaWorks updates. Okay, now on 4.7, a new update for 4.7 is a predictive ink calculator. So what this allows for, and this is great if we go back to thinking about that unattended print cut overnight scenario. So what it does is once you rip the job and it's going to print, if there's not enough ink, it's going to actually alert you. Okay, so it taps into, and if you're familiar with VersaWorks, you can calculate your ink, and you can under your job log, but you can also take a look at your printer status and see where your ink is at. What this does is that automates that function for you, so when you go to send a job, if the levels are sufficient, it's just going to go ahead and send the job. But if it's not, it's going to give you an alert and say, hey, you know what? Don't go home yet. Put in some more magenta, and then you can take off. Okay, maybe not in those words, but you will get a pop-up screen that's going to alert you that your ink is running low. Okay. And then on 4.8, there's a couple of new features with that as well. One is it will have a built-in Pantone digital color library. Okay, so inside of the VersaWorks RIP, along where you would you see your Toyo DIC, you'd see your Roland, your RVW colors. That will be now Pantone, solid coated and uncoated as well. Where it used to be you would design and then you'd find out the right CMYK values either by testing or using a spectrophotometer. for that certain Pantone color. Excuse me. And then you'd register and create a spot color. Then you'd set up the rip, and then you'd print. Okay, now with this new workflow, apologize, excuse me. It'll be designed. You can go into the rip setup, and the library will be there, and then you can print. Now, does this turn this into a Pantone printer? No, it does not. The extent of color matching, as you can see down on the bottom, just it's with any color. It's going to vary on ink, media, profiles, and printer. What it does is it allows you to have access to that library, though, on the digital side. So, as you go further into color, you'll need to be able to profile properly and make sure that your that your printer is dialed in and you're using the right ink, which Eosol Max 2 is a great ink, and make sure that everything and you have the proper media to ensure the best color. Okay. The next update on VersaWorks 4.8 is a spot color replacement. Okay, and again for Roland owners that work with VersaWorks, understand that we have the Roland VersaWorks spot color library. And normally what our workflow is say a client brings in this example here, and it has all these different colors. It maybe has a Pantone color, a DIC color, then a silver, a red metallic, and just a white underneath, and all these different types of colors. This is a typical file that you'll get. Used to be where you would have to go back into the design, and depending on how they set up the file, you'd have to ungroup or separate or find all these different things and change it to, you'd want to change this Pantone, you'd click on this and find the color library and change it, and so on and so forth. Now, all these spot colors are available right in the RIP, so you can take the design, bring it into the RIP, and click and change through to these colors before you print. Okay? So that is a big time saver right there. You don't have to modify someone's original designs, and each designer is a little bit different, so your production people, or if you are the production person, you understand how tedious these things can be, so it's a great time saver. All right. Couple other features. There is a new media preset auto alert. It's a small feature, but it's a big one if you are running the same type of media, or more importantly, if you're running maybe a couple of different types of media a day. You could come in and run a roll of vinyl, and then you switch to a roll of banner, or then you switch out to a backlit. And if you want to, and presets are great to set up so the printer's completely calibrated, and the heat and the temperatures are just dialed right in perfect for your media at the time. But sometimes presets aren't so great is if you change a load, or you change your to another media, and you forget to change the preset. And if you hit print, and we've done it before, I've done it, and you walk away from it, and then you come back and say, hey, what the heck happened there? You're not getting the quality. It's because it's preset for something else. So what this does, and it's an optional thing, you can just click in to turn it on, and you can turn it off if you don't want it. It'll just remind you what the preset is, and you can say either yay or nay and continue moving on, or you can switch it once you get them loaded up. But just having that extra little alarm sometimes will save the day and save you half a roll of banner material. Okay. And then also on the included take-up, one of the things, and if you're a Pro 3 owner out there, this will make a lot of sense to you. And again, it's a small thing, but sometimes, I've spoken to a Pro 3 owner that said this makes it worth the entire printer, is this little stability on this fixation screw on the take-up reel. It was something that before was not quite as stable as we wanted, and it would kind of run down and scratch up here. Well, that thing is solid as a rock now. So a small feature, but sometimes small features are what make your day that much easier. Also comes with Roland On support. And what Roland On support allows is it allows for firmware updates, but it also allows for your printer to talk to you when you are not in front of it, okay, or you're not at the workstation that's connected to. So it can let you know when your ink's running low, and it can send something to your cell phone. It'll let you know when your work's complete. It'll let you know if something happened, that there was an emergency stop and you got to come back and take a look at it. But it basically allows for your printer to communicate what it's doing to you remotely. So if you're out to lunch and you got a print running and it's complete, and say a client just sent you a text, you're at lunch, printer talks to you, says it's complete, you can shoot a text back to your client and say, meet me back at the shop in 20 minutes. We're ready to go. Okay, so it's exciting little things like that that allow your day to flow as seamless as possible. All right. Also a service plan. Okay. Now with the XR-640, it comes with a 2-year trouble-free warranty, Gold Edition. Okay, it includes everything in our 2-year trouble-free warranty, but it also includes 2 free maintenance visits. Okay, so there'll be one set at month 10 and one at month 20 by Roland authorized dealer, and these preventive maintenance visits, there'll be a 20-point checklist, and they're going to calibrate the printer, cleaning everything, any mechanical adjustments, anything that needs to be done. There's a set list of consumable items and things that that will be covered to be replaced. So one of the things that you can look at there is you'll have your printer covered if anything happens to it, but also if nothing happens to it, we'll come out and do those preventive maintenance visits again at month 10 and month 20. So this is a strong step in the right direction. So I encourage everyone when they're looking at printers is to look at the service plan, okay, because you are truly building your business around this printer, and you want it to be running and functioning, and sometimes when things don't run and don't function, you want to have someone that you can turn to. With this service plan, it's really a step in the right direction. So I encourage you to take a look at any other printer company, honestly, and see what their service plan looks like, and think about that. Okay, and also there's always extended warranties and plans that you can move out further than 2 years. Okay, so we talked about, I touched on briefly, you really want to be able to come out and see this printer. One sec there. This is a list of where you can see the XR. Okay, so coming up on October 7th through the 10th, if you are in the Midwest area, Chicago at Graph Expo, okay, booth 2659. And then, of course, the big show, SGIA, coming up on the 18th to the 20th in Las Vegas. We will be at booth 3451. You can't miss us at SGIA, okay? And we will be showing the XR. I will be right there to answer any questions that you may have, and of course everyone else from our Roland staff. And we'll be giving presentations on the XR throughout the day, and of course it'll be in the booth, and come on in and ask questions and take a look at the beautiful prints and applications that you can do with this printer. All right, and all the latest information you can find is on our website, rolanddga.com. I'll pop that up for you here. As you can see, right there on the home page is the XR. Okay, and I encourage you to take a look at it. You can just click on it right there, and it'll take you to the product page and allow you to have a quick 360-degree view, if I can make it work. And you can see you can turn the entire printer around and really just kind of get a good look at what it looks like. All right, and also along the bottom of the picture there is 5 different videos that you can watch that'll talk to you about all the great features on it. And then if you want to read on the printed, there's overviews, features, specifications, and there's a brochure as well that you can order from there. But again, I say the best way to see it is to come out. And if you can't make the shows, talk to your dealer in your area about when you can come and take a look at it. And I encourage you to come out and see it. All right. I'm going to, let's see, we'll go back here real quick. Okay, so I'll take a minute and I can address some questions. We have a few minutes here. Let's take a question from Doug. Will the whites do undercoats, overcoats? 3 layers, CMYK first, spot white in the middle, and then CMYK for backlit applications. I know that it can address a 2-layer printing where you would look at doing, if you needed to lay down a white, you could lay down white and then CMYK, or if you were looking at a reverse print, you would lay down CMYK and then put a white a white flash behind it. But as far as 3-layer where you're going CMYK, then white, and then CMYK again, it's not capable of doing that. So Chris asked a question, what's the life expectancy of white inks outdoor? Chris, what we look at on the white ink is it has the same life expectancy as the other colors, the CMYK, light cyan, light magenta, light black. Of course, with white and with metallic, for abrasion reasons, I always recommend lamination, especially when you're looking at metallic. If it's just pure metallic or just pure white, I'd recommend a lamination just against abrasion. But lifespan is the same. Okay, Jason asks, can white or metallic be added later to the printer? And the answer to that question, Jason, is yes. Okay, so your white or metallic can be added if you were to get the printer now and set it up 7 color, and then later you wanted to say add white or metallic or both. There is a process that you can do to flesh out the lines and move forward into that ink set. And what I would recommend is talk to your dealer about it. But it can be done in that direction though. But once you get into once you have metallic, or you have white or a combination of the both, you're set with that ink set. The reason being is they're heavier inks, and you would have to, you can't just flush the line and then add in another color. You would actually have to replace the line, and it's a procedure that that we don't we don't recommend doing it, and we don't endorse doing it. So once you move forward into white and metallic, then you're there. But yes, you can move from 7 color into an 8 color mode. Is there any difference between this printer and the XR-640 when it comes to drying time of vinyl to keep it from curling? Deborah asked. Deborah, it's going to depend on what vinyl you have. What I recommend, if you're using like a calendared vinyl, and this is just kind of across the board when you're dealing with eco-solvent inks, is you want to give it some dry time before cutting through. If you have like a fully saturated black image and you're going to print and cut, you want to give it a little bit of extra dry time. just because of the nature of what the solvent does to the vinyl as it thins it out, you'll get a bit of a pull on a calendar. Using a cast vinyl, you don't see that, but then you're getting into a different price structure, and I understand that, so you're going to kind of want to give it a little bit of more dry time. Or one of the things that that I recommend is if you can make your contour cut be on just the vinyl alone and not cutting through a printed area, to where you could put even if it's just a little 1 pixel 1 pixel outline around it, so it just hits right on the edge, then you don't see the amount of shrinking. Okay, so I hope that helped. Pete asked a good question. With white ink, do you need to use it regularly, and do they dry up? Pete, yeah, it's not necessarily that you need to use it regularly, but what you want to do is you need to agitate it regularly. One of the things, and circulate it. One of the things that the XR has, and all of our printers that have white, is a circulation system that will, whether you use it or not, is going to circulate the ink and then recirculate some of it too, so you'll save on some of the waste of moving that ink through the line. And then normally what I do is if I'm going to be printing and I come in and I set up to print a bunch of white, I'll just pull the cartridge out, give it a quick shake, pop it back in, and then it'll run through its process when I send of getting it circulated and getting it ready to go before I run my white job. So you pretty much, it's not that you have to use it. It's the machine will take care of it for you. Okay. And Roberto asked, what are the benefits of each configuration and the cons of each configuration, and why would a business choose each one? It's a good question, Roberto. It's really going to depend on what you're looking for and what different types of applications you want to produce. Metallic is a brilliant application, or a brilliant feature to any application is what I should say. We did a survey on all of our metallic printers to date, and what our end users stated is that they get on an average of 30% more for a graphic that has metallic highlights in it than a graphic that was just CMYK. So now you can sell it at a premium. What would be a drawback to that is speed. It's going to slow down. It's a slower process. So we can offset some of those things, especially with the XR, where you can run an unattended print or unattended print cut even, and work an overnight scenario. So it doesn't necessarily matter how fast it's going, because it's working when you're not even in the shop. Okay. So now the same thing on white too. White's a great application if you're doing a lot of printing on clear, you're doing window clings, different types of applications that call for white. So it's a feature that many shops have to outsource or send to a screen printer or do different things with. So being able to have that in-house is fantastic. And then downfall on that would be speed too. But we same thing with metallic. We discussed the workflow for that. And then you look at just CMYK, light cyan, light magenta, and light black, or we'll call our standard colors. Although light black's not necessarily a standard color, but it will be. And the advantages of that is, you can run your straight ink set, and it runs at a mirrored configuration. So you can have the speed where on previous models, if you wanted to have that speed, you'd run dual CMYK, and you wouldn't be able to run through a mirrored configuration through that many colors. So you have that advantage there, but you also have that advantage through all the other color sets as well. So it's overall, looking at the printer, it's just going to be where versatility. It's excuse me, getting a little tongue-tied. It's a very versatile printer. You just have to take a look at what type of applications you're going to go after. Well, it looks like we're all set on questions, so I want to take a minute to just thank you guys for coming out. Again, you can go to our website at rolanddga.com, find out more information about it, or come see us at Graph Expo in Chicago or at SGIA later on this month. Okay? I hope everybody has a productive day, and take care.